Hey, lovelies, it's Anne coming to you live to share this training on how my roadmap and how I made 500K working under 4 hours per day. If you are watching the replay, drop a hashtag replay to let me know so I can say thank you for that. And please tag me on any questions that you may have so I get notified. I can come back in here and answer them. So today I'm going to be sharing the exact roadmap to my first $500,000 in 1 year, right? And I did that working less than 4 hours most days. So, contrary to what you may think, um, we don't actually need to do more to make a lot of money, right? And I talk about this all the time. It really requires keeping business simple in order to achieve what I've been able to achieve. And it's going to sound too simple, but it works, right? Because I'm the living proof of that. And I've helped many, many, many clients to do the same. So I speak to so many women who think they need to post more or they need more leads or that, they just need to do more they need to have multiple offers, mid-level, low ticket, high ticket, all the funnels and all the things, right? And none of that is actually necessary. All of that works. Yeah, all of that works. Facebook ads work, websites work, podcasts work, YouTube works, all the platforms work, being omnipresent works. All those things work. So I'm not for a moment suggesting they don't work, but they're not necessary. Is what I'm suggesting, right? So I'm going to be talking about the bare bones of what I've been able to achieve um, in the simplest way, right? And so the more questions you ask, by the way, the more you're going to get out of this training. So I can only kind of cover so much in a short period of time, but please feel free to ask me absolutely anything. If I miss your question, I will come back and answer it afterwards. And I will probably just whiz through the training and come back and look for questions and that kind of thing too, right? So what I'm going to cover today is going to sound very simple, and it is exactly what has worked for me, and it is exactly what I teach my clients too, right? The only difference between a training like this, a free training like this, and the support that I provide to my clients is the information is no different at all. It's exactly the same. It's the feedback, the specifics around your own business or my client's own business that I'm able to look into and help them to support them to tweak things, to see what's working and how we can, optimize those results and that kind of thing, right? So that is literally the only difference, but the information is exactly the same. So, but feel free to ask me any specifics in relation to your business, and if I can, I will most definitely answer that. Before I get into the details of the training, let me just super quickly introduce myself to those of you who may be new to my world. My name is Anne Ryan. I'm a business mentor and a money mindset coach, and I help my clients who tend to be coaches and consultants to package and position their value into a high ticket offer that is so good that it practically sells itself. And I'm going to be talking about that in this training because obviously it all starts with your offer, right? It's a really important thing. And how I keep business simple is by helping my clients to put systems in place that allows them to earn multiple six figures working less than 4 hours a day, right? Some systems that can be outsourced to a VA, systems that you do yourself until you're in that position to get a VA down the track. But, um, full transparency, I did not. I have a VA, the lovely Jacelyn, who supports me. She's more than a VA, but she does support me now. But I reached $250,000 in a year entirely by myself, right? I reached 50K months entirely by myself. So it's not necessary to have an assistant or that kind of support, but of course it helps, right? And as you're working with more clients, it makes sense to bring in the help because, they can do some of those daily tasks, which can be time consuming, but when you're working with clients. So if you'd like to explore what working with me looks like, if you'd like to explore how to build a simple, scalable, and sustainable business that you absolutely love, that fits around your life, working less than 4 hours per day, comment #roadmap, or please send me a private message. I will personally be having a conversation with you to make sure that, what I have to offer is a good fit with what it is that you desire. And we can go from there. I'm not sure if you've seen right now, I have my membership offer, which is a brand new offer that I've created. So I reached $500,000 with one offer, right? I have just created my second offer, and it is at a lower price point because I know there are so many people who are not quite ready to invest at that mastermind level. And so the membership is a 12-month commitment. And the only difference between the membership and the mastermind, if you work with me, is there's no one-to-one in the membership. It's entirely group coaching, but the level of support I provide is the same. It's high touch. Although I call it a membership, it is way more than just trainings. It is actual coaching, right? Live coaching, helping my clients exactly where they're at and helping them to move forward. And right now I have an incredible bonus for the first 10 clients, the founding members, right, who join the membership. So reach out if you'd like to find out more. Now, let's get into today's training because I know that is what you are here for. My roadmap to $500,000 in a year. Before I get started, could you let me know, what is your goal? What is your financial goal for your business? How much would you love to earn in, let's say, the next 12 months? Yeah, let me know in the comments. Now, the reason I ask this is because, and I have shared this before, if you aim small and play small, you'll receive small. If you aim small and play big, you'll still receive small. If you aim big and play small, you'll still receive small. So you have to aim big and play big to receive big, right? So I recommend this as, set yourself a goal that will excite you, that will inspire you, that will meet all your desires and not just your needs, right? Reach for the moon and you'll land amongst the stars. Now, this does not mean set yourself a goal of $1 million when you haven't yet made 10,000, right? Because then you're kind of setting yourself up for potential disappointment. But I highly encourage you to, set yourself a goal that will really meet all your desires, and, and then your needs will also be met. Yeah. So that is that. So the roadmap to 500,000 is a little bit different to the roadmap to your first 100,000, right? But I will kind of touch on both. But the one thing that every business needs, despite what number, what goal you're aiming for, it is that really good offer, right? Really good offer. And I've shared lots of trainings on this. I'm not going to go into offer creation in this training because that will just take up too much time. But if you haven't seen my high ticket, high converting offers training, then comment #high ticket and we will make sure that we get that to you. But essentially, it all starts with the offer, right? And initially, so if you're working towards your first $100,000 or, around that kind of amount, I would highly recommend, one-to-one. I know we want to leverage our time and we can, right? But we've got to start with that kind of simple offer just to get clients in the door, and I made my first $100,000 with just one-to-one. Yeah. And with high ticket, you don't have to work with that many clients either. And I'm going to be talking about the numbers with you, right? So I'd create a group offer. Once, I've worked with a few clients, and that's when you can actually leverage your time a little bit more as well. Definitely when you're working towards the, couple of 100,000 and above, you would definitely want to look at creating a group offer, right? So, yeah, my first 250,000 was definitely, it was really at about the $100,000 mark was when I brought in my group offer. Yeah. If you're ready for group coaching, that's perfect, because some people are just ready earlier than others. But my recommendation around the offer, without going into the details of creating the offer, is don't waste time creating it until you've sold a few spots first, or at least one spot first, right? As long as you're clear on the message, the container, the length of the program, what you're going to include, at a high level, if you've got an outline of exactly what it is that you're going to do for your clients, that is enough. Yeah. As long as you're kind of clear on it, that is enough. You don't have to create the complete offer first before you can sell it. And this is where so many people, so many women that I speak to, can waste a lot of time building an offer that ends up not selling. Yeah. And they kind of get stuck in that kind of the detail of the offer, instead of creating content, putting an offer out there that's based on kind of an outline, a clear understanding, and trusting that you'll figure it out afterwards, right? If you feel like you need to have the whole thing figured out, you can waste a lot of time without actually knowing that it's definitely going to be what it is that your ideal client wants. Yeah. As a coach myself, I'm able to see exactly what it is that, that sells. Yeah. In my market, at least. Yeah. And equally, when I work with my clients, I can help them to kind of craft something that is compelling, that people want. And, it's the messaging and the packaging and the positioning is ultimately what sells, right? And your confidence, obviously, your confidence to show up and with conviction to offer something that that is potentially new as well. Yeah. You can check out various testimonials in this group, because most of my clients have transitioned to group coaching in exactly this way. They've sold first and then created the kind of detail of the offer. Yeah. And they've gone from selling one-to-one to group coaching in exactly that way, which is one of the ways to reduce the number of hours that you're working. Yeah. 4 hours a day is about 20 hours a week. So, you could have a group coaching program where you spend, even 4 hours a week on the group coaching program, and you could be serving 20 clients. Yeah. Um, does that make sense? That's how to leverage your time from a offer perspective. Yeah. The question is, do you have a clear message? Because I can't emphasize how important this part is, right? Because that is what's going to sell. It's the actual messaging is what's going to sell, right? Let me know in the comment. Let me know what your messaging is. And, perhaps I can give you some feedback on it. And feel free to ask me anything. It's fair to say that the bigger your financial goal is, the bigger your audience needs to be as well, right? Which is the next part of the roadmap. So once you've got your offer, you need to look at leads and your audience and how many people you need to actually reach the goal that you have. Yeah, I'm going to be sharing some numbers with you, and because these numbers are really, really important for us to understand, right? We can leave everything to chance, but if we actually understand our numbers, then we can control the results and the outcome so much better. With high ticket, right? And I've shared this before, your audience does not need to be as large as with low ticket. Yeah. Let's look at some numbers. If your goal is 500,000, which is the roadmap that I'm talking about, which was mine, right? And your offer is, say, $5,000, then you would need 100 sales. Yeah. You would need 100 sales a year, and that would mean about 2 sales a week. Now, if your goal was 500,000 and your offer was $20,000, which was mostly the case with me, I'm going to share some little differences that I had at the time during my $500,000 year. You would only need 25 sales. Yeah. 25 sales. So that's 2 sales a month. Yeah. A little bit over 2 sales a month. Now, I actually sold some one-to-one during my $500,000 year. And I also sold some, I had some sort of fast action bonuses that I gave out in some cases as well, right? So my price, it wasn't all, and I increased my price to 20,000 too during that year. So there were times when I was selling for around 16,000 and 18,000, as well as 30,000 for private one-to-one, right? Now, statistically, 2% of your audience is ready to buy, right? So that's 2 out of 100 people that are ready to buy. Yeah. Now, again, with high ticket, it's not quite as overwhelming because you don't need as many clients. You don't need as many sales, right? But to make 25 sales, for example, you'd need an audience of about 1,250. Yeah, so that's 2%. I hope I got those numbers right. I kind of figured it out before I came on here, but yeah. Because I actually had a slightly bigger audience. I think I had about 1,300 in my Facebook group, and I had, obviously my personal profile, and I have a small email list as well, right? So that's all my audience. But what I'm saying is statistically, you'd need about 1,250, right? The more you can understand your numbers, the more chance you are of hitting your goals, because sometimes we set our goal so high, yet we don't have the audience size to be able to achieve that, or we're not charging enough to be able to achieve that, right? So it all kind of has to come together. We've got to get the offer price right, we have to get the audience size right, and we also have to kind of understand our numbers, right? The goal that we're working towards in order for all of this to kind of work out. Let me know if this is making sense. And I would love to know, what is the price point of your offer? How many sales do you need in order to reach your 12-month goal? Let me know. Let me know. And then I can even help you with audience size and that kind of thing if you aren't quite sure about that. When it comes to your audience as well, it is really, really important that you have the right people in your audience, right? So, the narrower you can get with your audience, your niche, as it were, the higher the conversion rate will be as well. So I've based it on 2%, which is kind of industry standard, but that number could be even better if you had a very, very specific audience, right? So you knew that your offer was exactly what it is that they need. The biggest mistake that I see, right? Because I'm going to be talking about some mistakes that I've made as well. And the biggest mistake that I see is people go too broad. They're doing all the things. They're building their website. They're doing, podcasts. They're doing YouTube. They're interest. They're everywhere trying to be omnipresent, and I touched on this earlier too. But in the meantime, Those strategies work. Those strategies work long term, like podcast and those sorts of strategies, they all work, but they all take up time. You know, there's a lot of hustling required to do all those things and to be in all those places and to serve all those different kind of groups of people. And so I kind of have very much preferred. Recently, I have branched out a little bit, but definitely for my first 500,000, it was just on one platform. Yeah. And I chose Facebook, and your personal profile on its own could do the job, but I have my personal profile and this Facebook group. Yeah, because I kind of liked already had the Facebook group. And I made these mistakes too, right? I was spending so much time on my website and trying to do all the things. And I realized that none of that matters. It's so much better to just pick one thing and go deeper and go all in and really commit to one thing and do it really well, rather than trying to be in all the places, doing all the things and then not doing it as well. Yeah. Um, and yeah, and so I think that sort of makes sense. But just also to touch on the offer side of things, it's the same sort of thing. By sort of fully creating an offer and spending time perfecting it before actually selling it can be a huge waste of time. Yeah. And I totally realize that for some people, it seems really scary to sell something that doesn't fully exist. But as long as you have an outline, as long as you have that clarity and you're going to do one group coaching call a week, or you know how you're going to deliver the things, you don't need much more than that. Yeah. And as you sign up clients, even one client, I mean, this is exactly what I'm doing with my membership. Right now, I open the doors to my membership on Monday, and right now I am delivering as I'm signing up clients. I haven't built an entire membership. I do have a training platform, which I've built over many years, but the membership itself is just a blank canvas, right? And the first few clients that come on board more or less get that one-on-one experience, because you know there aren't a lot of members in there yet. Yeah, it's all good, it well, and there's no downside as long as we show up and serve our clients. And I'd love to know, has anyone here created an offer that hasn't sold? And I'm not asking this to shame you, truly, to kind of prove a point that it happens. And it happens to a lot of people. And these are the lessons that I learned too, right? All right. So that's the offer and the audience. The next step in on the roadmap is your visibility. Yeah. We need to get eyeballs on your offer, right? Because it's all good to have an offer. It's like having a website. It's great. But then how do people even know that you exist? How do people find your offer? Yeah. And it comes and I'm going to focus on social media because that's exactly what I did on Facebook. It's through creating content that grabs attention, right? And that's how we increase our visibility. And again, I'm not going to go into all the details of content creation and all of that, because I have actually shared that many times before. So if you want my training on how I create content in an hour a day, right, which is within my 4-hour working day, comment #visibility and we can get that training to you as well, right? So I've covered all of that in another training. But the one thing that I will say is your content needs to be really, really compelling, and it needs to be relevant, right? Long gone are the days of just sharing content for the sake of sharing content. Yeah. That used to be kind of possible, or sharing content just for the sake of engagement. Yes, it works to boost the algorithms, but people are busy. People are busy, and we need to really kind of share quality content that grabs attention, that is really helpful, that is, going to leave a mark on a person, right? And they're going to remember you, and they're going to want to come back for more. Yeah. I've covered all of this in that visibility training, all the different types of content and all of that too. So I won't go into that in so much detail, but drop a hashtag visibility to get access to that free training. But there is so much noise on social media, right? If we want to stop people from scrolling, we all do it. We all scroll, right? And actually read what it is that we're sharing, then we need to write really good copy. And the hook, the first line of your post is so important, right? And this is why I continue to, it's never ending. My skills, I continue to develop them. I continue to work with who I see as being even better copywriters than I am. I continue to do that, right? Because this is a really, really important skill that is often underestimated online. Yeah, it really is. It's such an important skill. So obviously, this is something that I teach as well to my clients, and we do copy reviews, and I help with the messaging and content side of things as well. But there are, success leaves clues. So feel free to kind of look at the people who are grabbing attention and see what is it that they're doing that you're not, right? What is it that they're doing that is grabbing the attention? Because that's what you need to do more of. Yeah. And your call to action is key to get people to really engage. Often people forget the call to action part, like ask people to do something, ask people to comment below, ask people a question, right? And that's what gets the engagement, and that's what gets the conversation as well. So let me know if you have any questions on that. You seem to be going well. I was thinking about this, and again, I have shared this analogy before. Ladies, a lot of what I'm sharing about today, I have shared in different trainings before, because I'm not doing 5,600 different things, right? I'm just doing the same things, and I'm just getting better and better and better and better at it. Yeah. It makes sense that I'm going to repeat these things. Yeah. And scaling beyond 500,000 a year to 7 figures and beyond, right, is very different, by the way. As by now, we have a reputation. I have a reputation. I have the authority, which I can leverage. I mean, I was blown away by the post that I wrote yesterday, which took me literally a minute, that has resulted in so many people wanting to get this training. Yeah. That is grabbing attention. Go check out my personal profile. That is exactly what grabbing attention is. Yeah. And that post literally took me like 2 minutes. Yeah. There's this analogy that I've shared before that I would love to mention again. Your audience are made up, or need to be made up, of your ideal soulmate clients. Yeah. And it's like a dating analogy that I want to share here with you. Yeah. It's like they are your potential future partners, right? Like if you were in the dating world. And you, as the coach, you are the offer, right? People hire coaches. They're not just looking for coaching. Yeah. They're looking for coaching, but they are the coach that they're hiring. Yeah. It's the partner. You are their partner. So your content is what gives them a first impression of who you are. It's like in the dating world, it's like what it is that you're wearing, how you're dressed. And your call to action is like inviting them to take that next step, to have a conversation with you, to slide into the DMs, to get on a call, to come and watch a training. Come and watch a training might be like, let's have a drink. Yeah. And you may chat to them in Messenger, and you may, we need to build genuine connections with people, right? It is so important, especially in the high ticket space. Spamming or just kind of the stereotypical appointment setter type churn and burn, cut and paste um, conversations that happen in the DMs, they don't work. Yeah. Like asking someone, so what do you do when all the information is right there is like, okay, you haven't even bothered to find out what I do. So I'm just going to ignore your message. We need to have genuine human to human connection. That is what people are craving the most. The entrepreneurial space, right? Like being an entrepreneur, being in business can be so lonely at times. Yeah. And we want genuine connection. We don't want to be spammed by someone. We don't want to be sold to by someone. We want to connect. We want to kind of deeply get to know people and really genuinely like speak to them from a place of service, right? So, using the dating analogy, the kind of we're taking our audience, our prospects, our future clients on a journey. Yeah. And this connection piece is super, super important. And we don't ask people, in the dating world, we don't get into bed with them after the first conversation, unless perhaps you're on Tinder. I don't know. I'm not on Tinder. I've been happily married for 25 years, so I don't know how Tinder works exactly. But, I'm not judging anyone for how quickly they get into bed with people, but I'm just using this as an analogy, right? And I hope it's making sense. And yes, I'm glad it's making you laugh too, right? So um, take your time to really get to know people, and that's the fastest way to reach these bigger numbers with high ticket sales, because you're not just churning and burning people by asking them to jump into bed with you before they've really got to know you, like you, and trust you, and all those things. Yeah, because different people need different amounts of time in the dating game and in the business game. Yeah, I hope that analogy helped in some way. Now, some people need to go on many dates, and others know on the first date that they've found the love of their life. They've found their soulmate client, their soulmate coach. They found the right person. Yeah. And that's the follow-up and the nurturing and all of those sorts of things come into play with that. So when it comes to your exact roadmap, like I've shared this quite openly, 70% of my clients, this ain't a booty call, people. No, it ain't a booty call. Exactly. 70% of my clients actually make a buying decision really, really fast, like in under a week. Yeah. But 30% of my clients have needed longer. I've had women who've become clients after 2 years of following me and having these conversations and all the things. Right. And the people that have been able to make a buying decision faster have been able to do that because of the content that I share. Because of this, like a Facebook group like this, where they can come in here and they can see, they can learn everything there is to learn about me. They can watch all these different trainings that I have in here. They can binge essentially, and then they can make that decision a lot faster, right? So a little bit like, condensing that dating time into a shorter period of time, just being able to kind of binge watch essentially, but consume more of me so that they can make that decision, right? And that's entirely possible to do. Anyone, right? You've just got to be consistent. You've just got to be consistent in sharing value and generously, creating trainings like this, because it helps, right? Your financial goal and your price point will play a big part in this, in your own roadmap, right? And you have to know these numbers. You can't set a goal of 500,000 or 100,000 or whatever number and then leave the rest to chance, right? Meditating, saying affirmations, leaning back in your feminine, all of those sorts of things are fantastic on top of the, really understanding your numbers and tracking them, because what you focus on, you can improve. Yeah. It's the same thing when it comes to money. If you're focusing on money, if you check your bank balance, you can actually improve your financial situation. But if you don't actually know your numbers, you're not looking at these things that are going to help you to actually achieve your goal, then you're just leaving it all up to chance, right? And the higher your conversion rates are, the less people that you'd need to connect with, obviously. Yeah. Let me again talk about numbers. I talked about audience size numbers before, but if you were to look at it from a perspective of, sales, for easy numbers, I'm going to go with easy numbers, right? Let's say the goal is 500,000, which was my goal, which is what I achieved. And I would break that down to, well, how much do I have to make a month? Right. And roughly I would sort of go, okay, 50,000. My goal is going to be 50,000 a month. Yeah. And obviously I had some different offers around the 20K mark, but I'm going to just go for easy numbers. Say your offer is $12,500. Yeah. Easy numbers. You would need 4 sales a month in order to achieve that $50,000 a month goal. Right. Now, again, your exact numbers will vary depending on your own situation, your conversion rates, and so on. But let's say, right, that you need 4 sales a month and you convert 1 in every 5 people that you speak to. Yeah. You would need to speak to 20 people that month. Yeah. Now, not everyone, as you know, is going to be ideal, right? Not everyone is going to be ideal. So this comes back to my original point with your audience. The more specific you are with who's in your audience, with bringing in the right people to your audience, the higher these numbers will be, right? Or better conversion rates you will have, rather, right? But let's say to find 20 of these ideal people to actually speak to, you may need to be having DM conversations with about 80 people, right? Because 1 in 4 of the people that you actually have conversations with might kind of go, yes, I'd like to get on a call with you. Yeah. This is kind of the funneling effect, right? You start off with so many more people in your audience, then you have so many conversations in the DMs, then you have so many sales conversations, then they become clients, right? And then there's a whole bunch of people that will need follow-up and nurturing and all that kind of thing because they're not quite ready yet. Yeah. But these are the numbers. And so how many people would you need to have conversations with? How many people would you need in your audience? Have you kind of been able to figure that out? Because if I bring in 200 people into this Facebook group, I'm confident I can get about 80 people, have 80 messenger conversations. This is talking about over a period of a month, right? So it sounds like a lot, but when you actually break it down to daily, you're not talking about a lot. You're talking about, 4 to 5 conversations a day. Yeah. If I bring in 200 people into this Facebook group, I'm confident I could have 80 messenger chats, right? And out of those, bring in 50 people into, oh my God, I'm getting myself all confused now. I need to bring 50 people into this group per week in order to get the 200 people a month. I try and break it down, right? I hope I'm not confusing you guys. Please let me know if you need any kind of clarification on these numbers. I try and break it down from big numbers to small numbers so I can really kind of break it down to, right, what do I need to do today? What do I need to do this week? Yeah, that's how I look at it and how I got to that 500K mark. Yeah. And if the numbers feel overwhelming, I do understand. But this is how real businesses run. Real businesses look at numbers, right? Real businesses look at, okay, what needs to happen in order to get a particular outcome. Otherwise, it's really, really hard to achieve goals. Yeah, you can't just leave it up to chance. You can't kind of have 25 people in your audience and wonder why you haven't got a $100,000 business. Yeah. Because the numbers just won't add up. They just won't make sense. Now, having said all of this about numbers, the reality is often quite different to the plan. And that's okay too. But at least you are setting yourself up for success. Yeah. In reality, my 500, and this is full transparency, and I've shared this before. My $500,000 year was not linear. It was not consistent every month, right? I had some different offers. I think, like I shared before, I had a $16,000 offer, $20,000 offer, and a $30,000 offer at that particular time. It was actually all the same offer, but different levels of access and all that kind of thing. I had one-to-one and my mastermind, and I had a fast action bonus that I was offering at one point before I increased my price to 20,000, right? And I had $200,000 months. 2 months out of the 12 were $100,000 months, right? So then I had to make 300,000 in the remaining 10 months. Yeah. Now, it wasn't planned this way, but this is the reality, right? When I look back, my plan was $50,000 a week, and I had a number of $50,000 months too. And I also had some 0 months. Truth, because what happened is, like, obviously after the hunt, I was very focused on delivery, and I was focused on serving my clients, and all that kind of thing. And that's the flexibility that we can have in our business, right? We can choose how we do things. It doesn't mean that I wasn't consistently showing up and still posting content and doing all those things, but I wasn't booking as many calls during those months because I was more focused on serving clients. Yeah. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped taking calls completely as well, which freed up even more of my time. Yeah. And then somewhere along the way, Jacelyn came along to help me out too, which was fantastic because she was able to take over a lot of the messenger conversations as well. Yeah. So this is the exact things that I did, right, in order to achieve that $500,000 year. Yeah. We have to set ourselves up for success, and we can't just leave things to chance, right? We have to know the numbers. If we're measuring the numbers, we can improve it. If you know how many people are coming into your audience, you can kind of go, okay, what needs to change? How can I bring in more people, right? Where can I find the right people? How can I improve my content? How can I get better messenger conversations happening? How can I book more sales calls? These are all the things. Now, if we're not measuring any numbers, then, how can you improve what you don't measure? Yeah. What you pay attention to grows. That's the biggest lesson, right? And the final and most important thing I will say is to reach big numbers like $500,000. A big part of it was my client results. Yeah. My client results played a big part in getting that kind of an outcome. Yeah. Your client results are the best marketing for your business. It really is. Like, I don't spend a lot of time on marketing. I spend way more time on my clients than I do on marketing. Like, it averages out to about 5 hours a week. This is the longest marketing thing that I do, this free training, right? I consider this as being part of my marketing. Yeah. Yesterday, 5 minutes to share that post. The day before, it might have been, the previous couple of days, it might have been 30 minutes each. Yeah. But on average, it's about 5 hours max that I spend on my marketing, on sales and marketing. And so I've got plenty of time to serve my clients, right? I've got 2 to 3 hours every single day to serve my clients. And it's entirely possible to do that. And there are some days when we have live Zoom calls, and other days when I'm just supporting them inside of a group or in chat or in whatever capacity, depending on who the client is. Yeah. Another reminder, people invest in coaches, not just coaching. Yeah. People buy from me because they resonate with me. So my authenticity is what sells. So it's really, really important that, you consider that as well. And how you're going to build that trust, right? And how you're going to get those results for your clients, because ultimately that is the most important thing in order to scale and grow your business, your client results. Yeah. And of course, when you're starting out, you don't have as many. That makes sense, right? But then that needs to be kind of the biggest priority to, and will really help to scale your business um, much faster, because it sells. Client results sell. Women who become my clients, they like how I show up and they value what I share, and they decide to work with me, right? So you kind of got to position yourselves in the same way. Yeah. Are you giving enough for your prospects to make that buying decision? And they make a decision based on what it is that you're sharing on the internet. Now, if you've been considering working with me, there's no better time than now, because I have brought out this new membership. My mastermind is still available. My mastermind has more one-to-one. This membership is so much more affordable. I brought it in after I hit the 500K mark, and it is going to go above and beyond to support the clients who are at potentially, some of them are at an earlier stage in their business, right? And it's in a private Facebook group. There's unlimited support that's provided in the group, plus there's Zoom calls. There is no one-to-one. That is essentially the biggest difference. The commitment is 12 months, but right now for the founding members, I am offering lifetime access, right? So lifetime access to coaching, to the membership, and investment is $250 a week, but it is a 12-month investment. So on the payment plan, it works out to $13,000 if you pay $250 a week and you have lifetime access, or if you pay in full, it's only $10,000. You get a $3,000 savings. So that is what's going on. If you'd like to explore what works with me looks like, drop a hashtag roadmap. And for the new members, the founding members only, I am also including a private one-to-one call to map out their roadmap. But just drop a hashtag roadmap and we can have a conversation in the DMs to see if what I have on offer is the right fit for you. Otherwise, let me know if you have any questions at all. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. I am so grateful for you all. It is always so much fun to do these trainings, when there are people watching. And I will see you very, very soon. I'll be back next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.